Okay, good morning, guys. Today we have 5.1 rate of change and slope, and the objectives to find rates of change from tables and to find slope. Okay, so let me show you what we did in the past and then kind of compare it to what we're going to be doing now in the future. Rate of change shows the relationship between two quantities. So here's what we said before. We said in words, as x increases, y increases or decreases by a certain number. So you guys just took a test on that. But one thing I never did tell you guys that I have to add now is this. So you got really used to finding your increase on the y side, which is in this case is you add 260 every single time. Okay, so you add 260 every single time. But now you do have to check the x as well. The increase on the x is +1 for each one. But every problem today might be a little bit different when they have you do that. Now, what you're supposed to do to find your slope is to put your change in y over your change in x. So your change in y is 260. Your change in x is 1. And 260 over 1 really is the same thing as 260. All right. Now remember, a table can be graphed as well. And on this next page, they graph it. So if I go over to the next page here, see how it goes up. Another way of finding slope is, I guess it's the exact same thing I said here, vertical change over horizontal change. But rise over run is probably the big thing or the most popular thing. Please put this in your notes here. And the main thing to remember is it's vertical change over horizontal change. Okay, so again, just follow along with what I have on the board here. It says, what is the slope of each line? You want to start on the left dot, work your way toward the right dot, put your vertical change on top and your horizontal change on the bottom. So let me first show you which 2 points I'm looking at. I'm looking at this one, and I'm looking at this one. Starting on your leftmost dot, find your vertical change. To get to the dot on the right, you'd have to go up 2 and over 3, which means your slope is 2 over 3. The next one, you're starting from this dot because it's more on the left, and you're ending on this dot. You put your vertical change over your horizontal change. If it's down 4 units, it's going to be -4, and then over 5. Your final answer is -4/5. And one thing I could probably talk about now is how 2/3 is positive. I'm sure you guys learned this last year. See how this from left to right slopes up? So it's going to be a positive slope. This one over here slopes down, so that would be a negative slope. So these answers do look correct. A little more practice here. Pick a dot on the left, and you might have to pick your own dot. Just make sure you get it across at a nice spot like this one and this one. Okay, so you count your vertical change. Maybe it's up, maybe it's down. In this case, you go up 1, 2, so 2, and then from there you count to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slope of 2/5. The next one, find the dot on the left that you want to use. Find the dot on the right. Start on the left. Count up or down. In this case, you count down 1, 2, which is a -2. And you go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can reduce -2 over 6, which is -1/3. All right, this is pretty much the last concept of the day. So I'd like you to put in your notes is this title, the slope formula. And I'm going to put m equals, because m represents slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is just something that has to be memorized, and the sooner you memorize it, the easier these will go. All right, let me show you how it works. This one goes into your notes. Now you have to use this formula if you don't have graph paper. So that's the reason where I'm showing you this one right here. So the formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Labeling is really important, so when you go to the coordinates, just go in order. The negative 1 represents x, the 0 represents y, the 3 represents x, the negative 2 represents y. These are your first ones, so they're sub 1s, and these are sub 2s. When you finish it out, put open spots for every single letter. Notice how I have the negatives in between. And now I carefully place the correct number. So my y2 is negative 2, then a 0, and then a 3, and my x sub 1 is negative 1. My final answer for this one, when I take negative 2 subtract 0, it's still negative 2. And 2 negatives in a row on the bottom here turn to a positive, so 3 plus 1 is 4. My final answer would be negative 1/2. Okay, this one also goes into your notes. Okay, one thing that I'll say about doing these problems, usually it goes pretty smooth, except when students don't use parentheses, because if you use parentheses, the chances of you getting them correct go way up. Labeling is also very important. Just go x, y, x, y. These are your first coordinates, so label them 1s. These are your second one, label them 2s. Get the correct numbers in the correct spot here. So y2 is negative 1, and a 3, 4, and a 1. On the top, negative 1 subtract 3 is negative 4. 4 subtract 1 is 3. Can't reduce it down. There's your final answer. Okay. What is the slope of each line? So again, labeling, x, y, x, y. These are your 1s. These are your 2s. You do not have to put this in your notes here. Just follow along here, because they're definitely a vertical line on the first one and horizontal on the, horizontal on the first one, vertical on letter B. Okay, and then what you do is you just plug them into the correct spots. I'll get this one set up right away too. Okay, just gonna check to make sure you got the right numbers here. So I go 2 and 2, and then I go 2 and negative 3. Well, on the top I get 0. On the bottom I'd get 5. 0 over 5 equals 0. Anytime you have a horizontal line, the slope is 0. So honestly, if you can visually see it's a horizontal line, you don't even show your work. You just put 0. Same thing with vertical line. You just know a vertical line is undefined. So what you do is this. You put, let's see here. I'll go negative 2 in that y, 1 in that one, negative 2 in that x, negative 2 in that one. Okay, on the top I'd get negative 3, but on the bottom I'd get 0. So anytime you get a 0 on the bottom, if you don't believe me, take negative 3 divided by 0 right now in your calculator. Usually it says syntax error or undefined, whatever. Anyway, the answer is undefined. Okay, a couple more practice ones here, but I am going to skip these because they'd be the same thing as all the other ones. And this is the last thing that goes into your notes. So just pause it on this page for a little bit. Create this. Get it all in there, guys. From left to right, if it goes up, it's a positive slope. Goes down, it's negative. Horizontal line, it's 0. and vertical line, it is undefined. So probably pause it on here for a little bit, and when you're done, let the teacher know. And after you have this done, guys, you're ready for your homework. So have a fantastic day, and we will see you tomorrow.